Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody to the March meeting of the Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation Commission, and I'll call this meeting to order. And first item, we'll have ask Dr. Gloria Bonner for a prayer and a pledge, please, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. And as we bow, let's keep our leaders in mind who are making decisions on behalf of the Ukraine crisis, and help us to make sure that we all understand together the value of democracy and the freedoms that we enjoy as a part of the fabric of this country. So bow with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for your presence in our lives individually and the life of this community. Grant our leaders the grace, compassion, and courage to make wise decisions that align with your word and your will for this nation as well as our community. Guide, guard, and protect us, and particularly the men and women in our military services as well as their families. Protect us from all the threats and keep our democracy safe. Grant each of us the integrity to walk according to your word, your will, and your ways. In the name of Jesus, amen. Could we please stand for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Bonner, for that meaningful and appropriate prayer for these times. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll get to our first items of business, and Nate Williams is going to be up. And Nate, you're going to give us a little financial report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Again, this is something that we're going to be bringing to you just every time we meet, just for a snapshot. We're entering our budget season now, and we're working hard, and we'll be able to show you what next year fiscally looks like for us. Again, we're performing well from an expenditure and a revenue standpoint. I told you last time we were here, it's the busiest I think we've ever been, and that just continues to grow, and I just appreciate our staff working so hard. You do have a supplemental sheet that wasn't included in your packet. I'm sorry I failed to get that in the rush of things, but that is our revenue report. So you have that on your desk as well. Like I said, I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have, or if you have any questions after this, feel free to follow up. But just want to provide kind of a snapshot of where we stand right now, 7 months into our fiscal year.
I have a question. So the dramatic gains are just a rebound from a COVID year?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think people are getting back to normal. I think if I could, in my speculation, I think our facilities proved a new level of worth to a lot of the community that didn't realize that they existed. And I think our staff has done a tremendous job capitalizing on that and building new programs and just enhancing our facilities. So I think it is a rebound year from the past couple years, and I think our next budget year will reflect that as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Nate? If not, we'll move on to the part of the meeting that I always forget to do, which if you will go back and look at the meetings from next month, I'll entertain a motion that we accept those minutes
From last month.
from last month.
That's what you said. I move for approval of the minutes from last month.
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? There are none. Okay, thank y'all. Next item on the agenda is Lisa Browning. And Lisa, you're going to talk to us. You're going to give a couple of awards for our new laureates.
Yes, we are. One of our laureates did not make it. She had a previous engagement, so she's sorry she can't be here. But thank you, Chairman Miller and Commission, for having us. I'm Lisa Browning with Cultural Arts Murfreesboro. And let's see if we can start this PowerPoint. think we have, here's Michael, he's coming. Okay. Awakening Resilience. First of all, we're super excited to introduce the laureates today. We have a couple of wonderful people that have already shown what support they have for the community and what they already are doing in their heart for the community. But Awakening Resilience is the theme for the 2022 Laureate year. It's in its 5th award year, and the Murfreesboro Cultural Arts Laureate Program is a notable honor for local artists, providing recipients with further opportunities to educate, to advocate, and to represent our community through their creative initiatives. And we'd like to introduce Cameron L. Mitchell. So he is the 2022 Poet Laureate, and you might recognize him because he was awarded Cultural Arts Murfreesboro Actor Laureate for 2021, where he engaged our community with spoken word and poetry and workshops and speaking engagements and other educational things. Cameron, a spoken word artist, is the founder of Free Fire. I always want to say Fry, but for some reason, Free Fire, an organization of spoken word artists who engage the community with a blend of poetry, theatrics, and I think most important, transformation. In addition to serving as a mentor with Southern Word, Mitchell has performed poetry at conferences and events throughout Middle Tennessee. And shown here are a few of the things that he has done. So we were able to put a poem that he wrote. It's called Wayfinder, and it's a beautiful, encouraging poem that walkers along the breezeway were able to view. He also did Learning with the Laureates, which is a presentation that we have the laureates do to educate and share some of what they know with the community. It's a video series that Michael Nevels has put on. And here, this was his 2021 Laureate Rotunda exhibit, where he did spoken word, and he performed the Hope Effect, which was one of his projects. So before I go on, I just want to congratulate and just... We'll give him his award in just a little bit. So the Dancer Laureate is recognizable as well, and this is her 2nd year. She's the returning laureate and the director of Duncan Dance South, an associate professor and a director of the dance at Middle Tennessee State University. An artist and a scholar, she specializes in the early modern dance practices. Meg has performed in national and international venues throughout the United States, as well as Europe and Russia, and her work has been covered by many publications, as you can see here. And here is a project she did at the Civic Plaza, above, the photo above, with some of her Duncan dance people and MTSU students as well. And below, she performed Ave Maria at the tree lighting, and it was just so beautiful. I hope that some of you were able to catch that, but it was truly inspiring. And here she performed as well for the exhibit at the Rotunda, the Hope Effect, and she choreographed this piece, and I'm just going to show you a little snippet. So part of this dance is about how we need each other and how being there for each other can make a difference and lift each other up and to be hopeful for the future. So she designed the dance itself, the choreography, and she also did the costumes. And these are Duncan Dance performers, Duncan Dance South. There we go. Okay, so please join us in congratulating and welcoming the 2022 Murfreesboro Cultural Arts Laureate. And Cameron, why don't you come up and I'll present your award. We'll take pictures a little bit later, but Cameron would like to just talk to you for a little bit.
Thank you guys for having me and for just welcoming me into this space, into this community to represent poetry and education. I know some of you may be wondering why I chose to change from actor laureate to poet. One, because I feel like education is very necessary, especially right now. And as I've been into so many different schools, I recognize that the youth really need examples, especially for the Black community, because we know that 2% of educators are Black men, only 2%. And there needs to be more examples of Black men who are looking at literacy as a skill, something to pursue. And so I feel like poetry for me is a great example that I can set for the youth, and as a man who can really be that advocate. And so I believe that poetry is a great way and a great thing to use. But then right now, I also recognize that we have come out of a dire time. Some of it we're still kind of in. But right now, it's time for that resilience to awaken. Right now, it's time for that resilience to go forth and for us to start building back. So that's why we have named this year Awakening Resilience, because it's time to really push forward and see what the future has to offer for us, to really build and come out of this storm. And so with that, we're going to start painting new pictures of poetry and dance and blending those together so that the youth and the community can really enjoy the arts again, because we know the arts has really been struggling. And we need the arts because that's what helps us get the innovation, the inspiration to continue to do the things that we're doing in the community in a positive way. And that's the things that we need right now is positivity, because there's so much negativity all around us. And so with that, I would like to share a poem. This poem was used in the Murfreesboro Majesty calendar last year during February. So if you had that, you may have seen it. It's called The Sky is Falling. They say be brave, be sweet, be this, be nice, be. But that explosive temper has no diffuser. No time, tick, tick. They can throw dirt quick, but they can't bury their bomb. It's atomic. No one can cut that wire. Each is a fuse triggered from past traumas, and then there's you. Another black dream dropping into a white world trying to make your mark in the sky. But every inch is already marked by the ashes of Boeing engines. So who are you? We're all trying to reach higher. But maybe we should switch the perspective and reach deeper. You are ink, melting into the deep, leaving a merit of gratitude for every level of pressure you survived through. Make it bold. Make it in a cool, soothing calm. Discover new wisdom that can diffuse this calloused anger. Swiftly spread a harmonic resonance in the darkest places. Who knew that peace could sleep easily in darkness? Who knew that your light could shine brightest when it's right where it's meant to be? Thank you.
So proud of Cameron, and we're so excited. He is such a positive voice for our community, and so with this, we congratulate you as Poet Laureate.
Thank you so much, community. Thank you, Murfreesboro, and I am excited to represent you in this space with poetry and spoken word. Thank you.
Hey, Cameron, while I got you up there, just
Yes.
I'm a member of the city council, and I don't really know the right way to make this happen or whatever necessarily. I can get with staff or some way, but love for you to come and share kind of your story and maybe that poem or some other with the city council one night. I think it'd just be appropriate. We get to see this at this level, but I think the council would really appreciate it and enjoy it. So I don't know. I may not be the right guy to make sure you write my number down to make it happen, but
Yes.
Maybe staff can help me and make sure we make it happen back there, okay? Would you be
Yes.
willing to do that?
Yes, I would love to.
All
sir.
right, love to
Thank
have
you.
you.
Thank
Thanks a lot for what you do.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Lisa. Great presentation.
Well, we're also proud he's a graduate of Middle Tennessee State University in the Aerospace Aeroscience program. So he's multi-talented.
Heck, yeah. I'd be, if I were the other laureates, I'd be a little nervous next year as to what you're going to show up here doing. Thank you. Okay. Susan Hicks, if you can follow that, I know you can. I know you
It's going to be
can.
hard to follow Cameron.
Yes.
So just go ahead and lower your expectations, and we'll be right nice. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is Gateway Island. Okay. Move back. So as an item for the agenda on March 2nd, 2022, it is recommended that the commission accept and pass the proposed upgrade to the Gateway Island pricing, which will allow the department to be more competitive with other venues in our area. The background on this is we are streamlining the island rentals to make it more efficient. We are no longer offering half-day rentals at the island. Monday through Thursday rentals will stay at the $350 per day price, and Friday through Sunday will now be $500. For the full day, the reception center will be included in all rentals. We will also provide 5 tables and 20 chairs to be used as needed on the property. We will be adding a 10% discount for city residents. Also, we will require a 4-day rental for weddings and large events at the rate of $2,000 for those 4 days. This will clear up the confusion of the tent rental shutting down the island during large events, and the special use for races will stay at the $350 rate for the day. And we will initiate a new $100 overage fee if they go over their hours. The physical impact is that these changes will allow for revenue to be increased and city labor to be decreased. It will also allow us to be more competitive in the market. We will still be the cheapest venue for these types of events in Middle Tennessee while providing a great service for the community. Do you have any questions?
I got a question on this, the 4-day rental for weddings. I assume that's basically because they got to come in there early to get set
Yes,
up
and
stuff like that.
and I will clarify, if somebody just wanted to come in for a 1-day simple wedding, it would still just be the $500 fee. If tents are involved, the rental companies for tents only set up on Saturday and they only take down on Monday. So the facility has to be closed down regardless.
With it, okay.
Any other questions for Susan? If not, I'll entertain the motion that we accept the new rental agreement for the Gateway Island.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There are none, so motion passes. Susan, you are still up.
Yes, I am up for a little bit. If y'all will bear with me, it all kind of hit at one time. The Washington Theater pricing package is up next. As an item for the agenda of the March 2nd, 2022 MPRC meeting, it is recommended that the commission accept and pass this upgrade to the Washington Theater pricing. This will allow us to be more competitive with other theater venues in our area. And the background on this is over the last 3 years, we have achieved several upgrades in our theater, such as new LED lighting system for the stage and house, new upgraded sound system, new curtains, and a facelift for the theater lobby and backstage areas. We've increased our occupancy for both in-kind and outside rentals. However, we realize we are no longer competitive in the theater market. We would like to streamline our rental fees to be more competitive in this market and to simplify the rental experience. We would like to add a 10% discount for city residents renting the theater. We have found that a large part of our rentals are from the outside of the city and county limits. We have had multiple packages in the past with additional fees for mics and projectors, sound operator, etc. Then this new fee system, everything will be included in one package. Even with the changes in these fees, we are still maintaining the lowest fees of the offering of this type of offering in Middle Tennessee, and we are still below any other theater rental for the same services in Middle Tennessee. The physical impact, the 550 package will be deleted. The $800 package for a 5-hour rental will be our only offering. We'll raise the per hour fee by $50 and over that 5-hour rental, and lower the weekly rental rate by $2,000, and raise the non-refundable deposit to $250 instead of $125, and add an over-hour charge of $250 per hour. If y'all have any questions, I know this is a lot of information.
So if you're lowering the weekly rental fee by 2,000, what is it?
The current weekly rental rate is $6,500 a week.
So it's going to 4,500?
Yes, it's a little more reasonable. We'll still keep it at the 5-hour rate. The 6,500 week, we rarely rent for the week, and for that price, we just really, it's a little out of everybody's budget, but at the lowering it to the $2,000, we still make the revenue, and it makes it more accessible for the community if they needed to rent it for a week for a play or a theater event.
It's kind of refreshing to see prices go down. It's always raise, raise, raise. So good. Hopefully it'll make us more competitive. Thank you.
Could you share with us, since you stated that a large part of our rentals are from outside the city and county, could you give us a couple of examples of who that would be?
So we do a lot of, I can give you several examples. We do a lot of theater rentals in May and June for dance recitals. We're pretty much booked the end of May, all June, and half of July for weekend rentals for dance recitals. Out of those 7 weeks, only 2 are from local dance companies. The rest of them are from Antioch, or we have some from, I can't remember the name, but they're all outside of the Rutherford County area or on the outskirts. They're not inside the city of Murfreesboro. And then we also are having more and more people call us for out-of-state rentals. We've had several comedy shows come through, and we've had several bands that wanted to perform, or some of those things. So we're getting a lot more exposure because of the size of our venue, and that is great, but we need to make sure we stay competitive, and we're not overused and used so much in the community that we don't have access for the community to use it as well.
Thank you.
So that was a question I was going to ask, and I don't know, Nate knows I'm kind of a stickler about the whole inside the city versus people coming in who aren't taxpayers necessarily.
Yes.
I'm not sure 10% is enough. Like for me personally, I'm cool with it today, and y'all do what you think you need to do on it. But I don't know if there's something in place, and you guys will have a better feel for this than I ever would, but if we're booking this thing out way out in advance with people that are outside the city or even the county, I wouldn't want that to be, to usurp people who are here to be able to book it. If we're getting a bunch of people calling from within the city today to book in June, and we're telling them, sorry, no, you can't. I guess,
Yes.
I'm just kind of asking you to think about that, and if that is the case, I don't know that it is, but if that is the case, I really would hope you guys put something in place that would, maybe only allow, give only let people outside book it a month in advance, for example, and so if nobody from the city has booked it by then, I don't know that that's the exact right answer. I'm just kind of some idea to make sure we're giving our residents the opportunity to use the facilities that they pay for. So I don't know the exact right answer. I'm just kind of thinking if you guys put your heads together and think along those lines, I
think
or perhaps there's a priority placed on the inside the county and city.
basically that's what I'm asking for, some priority somehow.
We do want to provide that opportunity for community members, especially, city residents who might be doing something. I think, and Susan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when we talk about the market for the rental of a theater, it's more regional. While we do want to promote local things, I think we work to do that. We will discount that as well for being, a local person renting. But I think the market, I don't want to, knock ourselves out of the market for these types of events that could be really good and enjoyable for residents of Murfreesboro to have at, the Patterson Washington Theater. So I think that's something we can take into consideration.
Right, and we still have only a 300-seat capacity, so these aren't large venues. If they come and ask and they need a larger venue, we definitely cannot house that. So we're still talking about a smaller venue space of only 304 seats. If they're wanting to do like a big rock concert, we can't facilitate that. So we still have plenty of time for our city people to go ahead and book a space with us.
I guess I'm just saying, look, if we're talking about dance recitals, and if there's 10 local dance companies here, I have no idea.
There are probably more.
Yeah, so if there's more than that here,
We haven't had a situation that we've not been able to fit everyone in.
there you go.
And
That really answers my,
And we work around, and we work around with them. And right now, we have the same people, and we've just added a few over the years, but these are continual rentals. Some people have been renting for us for 10-plus years. So,
I just, if it got to a point where we weren't able to accommodate the local groups, because.
I completely agree.
Yes, I'm just saying, let's try to keep that in mind, that's it. So I'm satisfied with that.
Susan, you might have mentioned this already, but how far in advance can you rent the facility?
You rent the facility up to a year in advance,
Up to a year.
and then we accept no rentals 30 days before your due date.
Okay.
So we don't do anything sooner. If they called and needed to rent it this weekend, we do not do that. It's 30 days out.
And there's no differentiation whether you're in the city or outside the city in terms of how far in advance you can rent?
No.
Just 1 year for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, and then the other question I had, and then it's just a curiosity question, could you name a couple of the other places that we would consider to be competition for us?
We are in a unique place of being the size that we are. We have Center for the Arts that rents, and I think they have a 111-seat theater. Their prices are almost double what ours are for rental spaces. And then you have Tucker, which seats 800 on the floor and I think 300 in the balcony, right at 1,200 almost. And those might not be exact numbers, but they're pretty close. And they rent for, $3,000 or $4,000 a day. So we're very, very competitive with what we're doing.
And approximately, not to the fourth decimal point, how many events does that theater see in the course of a year?
Between now and July, I have 2 weekends free.
And this is the heavy time of the year coming up?
It's been pretty heavy consistently.
Okay.
It's recital season.
It is recital season, it's graduation season, so we have local preschools graduating. It's adorable. We also have Holloway that has some graduation. Bradley's doing their play there, and these are in-kind contributions. Raw is rented it's an in-kind partnership. They'll be there for 2 weeks. So we do a lot of in-kind within the city already. But we're pretty booked through August, and then we start the fall season and getting back into school and other presentations.
Now, you say on the out-of-town rentals, what is the price? Is there a price increase for out-of-town?
There is no price increase. It's $800, and then we get a discount if you're within the city.
Okay,
And this is new. We've never given any kind of discount for city residents before.
okay. I think you really need to change the out-of-town prices. Any out-of-state prices. Let me show an example that how we do it at Turner Transportation. If I get someone who calls me from New York, California, Connecticut, Texas, they don't get the Tennessee prices. They get the California prices. They're used to paying higher prices in California. So when they come to Tennessee, I'm gonna give them that same price when they come to Tennessee that they're used to back home. Now, if you're in Tennessee, you get the Tennessee prices. But anybody outside of Tennessee don't get, it's like the State Farm commercial. You don't get the home
price.
Yeah, you don't get the Tennessee price except you live in Tennessee. So, but people from out of state, they're used to paying higher prices. You know what I'm saying? So they
agree.
won't have a price. They won't have a
Deal for
problem.
out of state.
They won't have a problem with paying higher prices. So that's maybe something that you may want to consider.
It's something to consider, Mr. Turner. We've set up a model that's been successful. I know maybe 20 or 30 years ago it was tried to make 2 different rates, for residents and non-residents. Where we found success in the past 3 years is that we've established rates, be it shelters, be it camps, be it passes, where we establish the rate, and then we give the city discount off of that, and that seems to be much more acceptable, and I think we're able to implement that. You know, I don't know if we could get into another level of out-of-state rates. Something maybe moving forward as we continue to look at our rates and how we implement those. But I would just say the model, I think we need to stay pretty consistent in establishing the rate and then providing the city discount, because that's provided us some pretty good success, and I think the residents of Murfreesboro really see the benefit in that as well.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking if you give I guess the out-of-staters a higher price, that would cause the people in state or in Murfreesboro City, that discount, you know what I'm saying, it'll absorb more of that discount for the local residency, because you're going to charge a higher price for those, you know, out-of-staters. So just something to consider.
Susan, what's just a guess on the percentage of out-of-state?
We probably only do 2 out-of-state every year, so it's a very, very small majority, because most of them call and then they find out the number of seats we have, and I move them on to Tucker.
Okay.
I think we look at it more regional, and the Middle Tennessee region is really our market. And like Susan said, we don't rarely have to turn people away outside of capacity issues.
Okay.
One of the things we can consider, and it's kind of what I said earlier, but one of the things we could always consider is once we get this in place, if we decide that 10% isn't a big enough difference in the cost. So I think what we're doing with the discount is kind of what you're talking about anyway. It's just a different way of getting there. Is, you know, if we decide that 10% isn't a big enough discount for a resident,
right,
maybe we just change that discount. But I think getting these things in process, getting the process being that there is a discount and getting people used to that is probably a good first step.
And we're
just that is needed, right?
And I think you could see just from the past year on this commission, we're constantly tweaking and looking at ways to get our fees and our percentages better. And I commend staff for constantly evaluating where we stand in the market. So I think this would be a good move for the theater. If you haven't been to the theater in a while, I would encourage you to go check out the Washington Theater. Susan and her staff have done a great job giving that place a facelift. It's very vibrant. I love what we're doing now as far as streamlining. It's not difficult. It's not complicated to rent. It's kind of a better understood package deal. So, like I said, I'd encourage you. I know Dr. Bonner was there recently, and so was Mr. Cunningham. But just to be able to go see what's been done there and the options there are tremendous.
We have a play this weekend, Junie B. Jones, Friday and Saturday at 7 o'clock and Sunday at 2. We would love to have you.
If there aren't any more questions, I'll move for an approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Good discussion and thoughts on that. And Susan, you are still up.
Yes, I am.
Susan Show.
It is the Susan Show today. So my next item up is going to be, of course, increasing the fees for Greenway Art Festival booth rentals. Right now, Greenway Art Festival booth rentals have been the same at $25 for the past few years. We would like to increase them to $50 to keep up with the neighboring art festivals. I did a lot of research on this before I submitted it. Even at $50, we're well below. The next closest is $100 a day. So with that being said, we would like to also add a no refund policy to this event. Even upon cancellation, if we have to due to rain, we are now offering them the virtual festival as an option. This last year we did have to cancel, and they still were able to do a virtual festival, and all of our booths had very positive feedbacks on the response from the community from that virtual festival.
I move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan.
And I am done.
Good presentations. Very good. Good work. All right, Mr. Thomas, you gonna give us an update with our Miracle All-Stars?
Yes, sir. Probably going to have technology come out, but I'm going to give them a little bit of time before we get started. There we go. Thank you, members of the commission, for having me. In 2017, Murfreesboro opened the first Miracle League of its kind in the state of Tennessee. And at that opening ceremony in May of 17, our mayor challenge the rest of the state of Tennessee to do the same, to open facilities like this, making baseball accessible to members of the community of all ages, regardless of abilities. And so the Miracle League was founded in Murfreesboro in 2017. Since then, 5 years later, we're proud to say that there are 5 leagues operating currently, and there's 6 more in the planning phases, from funding to construction and actually opening their league. So Murfreesboro's leading the charge in the Miracle League, and we want to continue doing that. In 2020, the 2022 All-Star Games will be hosted here in Murfreesboro. I told you I would come back and give you an update. It's September 16th through the 18th. On Friday, over 100 players from over 300 leagues throughout the country will converge on Murfreesboro, stay at the Embassy Suites Hotel. Each family will have a suite of their own, making it more comfortable throughout the weekend. And then we'll transport them to Sportscom, Borough Beach, and the field and park itself, where they'll enjoy an afternoon of activities and fun, food, music, home run derby, a lot of different things. And then on Saturday, of course, we'll be at the fields. We'll host Miracle League baseball games all day long, so we'll have lots of opportunities. But we'll use a lot of our buddies that we use throughout the regular season, our local high school baseball teams, and also our first responders. It'll be another day of baseball for our buddies. And then, of course, they'll go back to the Embassy Suites that evening, where we'll have a banquet, awards banquet, and a player party and dance. And believe it or not, we went and witnessed the All-Stars in Houston this past year, and the dance is the big highlight of the weekend. No matter how much you do on the field, the dance seemed to be the highlight. So we want to encourage everyone to support the Miracle League All-Stars. The city's partnered with Miracle League and the Project 1-4 Foundation. And I told you last time that I came that I was going to bring you some funding opportunities. A brochure is there for all the funding opportunities for this event that goes through the Project 1-4 Foundation. They've done really well at keeping us funded in terms of our program. The Miracle League of Murfreesboro has never wanted for anything from the support between the Project 1-4 Foundation and the city of Murfreesboro. So if you know of someone or you know of a business that would like to contribute, I know those are dollar amounts, but we do have a lot of in-kind donations that we'll be looking for. We've got meals to do, transportation, a lot of different opportunities. So please reach out to someone if you know of someone that wants to fund the Miracle League All-Star. We're proud of that partnership. And so leading into our next subject, as we talk about partnerships, we created a partnership between the city, the Nashville Predators Foundation, and Special Olympics. And at Patterson Park, we allocated unused space to develop a weight training facility. And the story, I had a parent contacted me, and these parents had bought equipment for their boys to learn how to weight train and to train for the Special Olympics. There was really no opportunity for them to be able to train. And then local businesses provided them some space. But when the local business closed, they contacted me and wanted to know, we'll be willing to donate the equipment for other athletes to train if we can find a space. And that's when we worked with Special Olympics and the Predators Foundation. We found the space, the funding, and the result was our new weight training facility at Patterson Park Community Center. It's equipped to train for Olympic-style lifting. So the equipment, athletes, and our Special Olympics board was there to open the facility. We'll start doing Special Olympics training next month as the athletes prepare for the May Games. And then also our fitness coordinator at Patterson Park is starting a new program with the youth of that community to help drive weight training, weightlifting, and promote that throughout the youth in our community as well, in addition to those with intellectual or physical disabilities. We want to get everyone involved. Speaking with Chad, our coordinator, we kind of have a vision for this program. We would love to see a world-class competition held at Patterson Park, not just for Special Olympics, but also for anyone interested in this arena. We've never really been able to have a weightlifting facility with the proper flooring and different things. We're proud of this partnership. We want to continue partnering with Special Olympics and Miracle League and continue to add things to our community. The Special Olympics has been doing a lot with the partnership with the City of Murfreesboro. We'll be unveiling our spring training activities. Basketball is wrapping up through our Advantage Sports program, and then we'll be offering golf lessons or golf classes, tennis lessons, tennis classes, weight training, of course. And we currently have ongoing fitness classes for individuals with intellectual and physical disabilities on Mondays at SportsCom at 4:30. That's every week, regardless. But we'll come back and update you on the opportunities. The final piece I want to talk about, and I'm going to come and give you a presentation. I know Dr. Bonner will love this, but finally, we are allowed to host the Area 16 Special Olympics track and field meet at the Dean A. Hayes Stadium at MTSU. It'll be May 9th and 10th. We're splitting it up. High school and adults will be there on the 9th, beginning at 10 a.m., and then elementary school and middle schools will be there on the 10th, beginning at 10 also. We'll get everyone involved. We want dignitaries. We want anyone that wants to participate. But we're trying to take this event and treat it with all the professionalism and all the merit of a traditional track meet. We hosted Hershey's Track and Field for years. So we're bringing that state level to this event. We're asking parents and fans to be fans in the stands, allow the kids to compete. I think it's going to be a wonderful experience, but we have opportunities for everyone to participate. And I think the biggest thing that our community can do is show up and be in those stands for those kids. So, any questions if anybody has?
Thank you. Coach Dean Hayes is smiling.
Thank you.
Wonderful work, Thomas. Very good. And I want to go back and mention, one of my favorites, and I usually mention this, is the Miracle Field on Saturdays. I mean, that's got to be the greatest venue in the city on any given Saturday. And this guy, Thomas, he'll be there. He'll have the biggest smile on his face, having more fun than anybody there. So
we open Miracle Field, opening day is April 2nd, and so we'll have games every Saturday morning from April 2nd on into June. So just come out and enjoy a game, an hour or two at the ballpark. It'll definitely make your week.
Make your week. Yep. Thank you, Thomas.
One quick question.
Yes, sir.
On this sponsorship stuff, who's kind of coordinating that? Is there somebody? Is it us or is it?
It goes through the Project 94 Foundation. If you look on your line item here, and it has designated donations, Miracle League donations. So the Project 14 Foundation, they do all the fundraising, and then they write a check to us periodically when those donations come in, particularly for this event or for Miracle League. So
Bonnie and Debbie.
Right, Bonnie and Debbie Price and the Price Foundation.
Councilman, when you'll see the budget here, in a month or so, you'll see a specific line for the All-Star, the National All-Star Game as an expense, but you'll also see it as a designated revenue as well. So we're fortunate to be able to have this event. Thomas and his staff have done a great job researching it. It's going to be the best event. And like Mr. Miller said, if you go out on a Saturday in April, I promise it'll be the best thing that's happened to you.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Rachel, tell us about the nature buggy.
Yes. I'm just going to take this opportunity to announce that Parks and Recreation applied for and was awarded a grant through the National Environmental Education Foundation for driving mobility and accessibility. So the grant funding was $20,000 for this project, and the proposal that was selected was to purchase a nature buggy, which is a customized wheelchair accessible cart that will give individuals with mobility limitations access and enjoyment to outdoor spaces and programming. So we're really excited that this motorized cart will increase the capacity of Murfreesboro Parks and Rec to provide equitable access to the outdoors and activities and programming opportunities. So I will make sure to come back and update you as we move along in the process and to invite you to the grand reveal when we get it.
Very good. Thank you, Rachel.
Sure.
And any questions on the nature buggy? Okay, so Rachel, you can take us home and tell us all about what's coming up.
Okay. All right. As always, we have a lot going on that we just wanted to bring some of it to your attention. This week, staff was very busy in our administrative offices and Patterson and SportsCom because summer camp registration opened to the community. We host just a plethora of great camps for the summer to keep our kiddos busy and engaged. That is a list of our camps. You're able to register at murfreesboroparks.com. Call the office if you have questions. And you can also do it in person at the 3 locations listed. So that's SportsCom, Patterson Park, or the administration office at Barfield Crescent Park. We do have a Saturday class sampler coming up at Patterson Park. It's going to be Saturday morning, March 5th, so that is this Saturday. You are able to try out a lot of our programming that we have there to get you up and moving. There's a schedule. You can do Zumba. You can do, I don't even know how to say the next one, Decastrong. Step and Trash and Bash, Forever Fit, Dirty 30 workout, yoga, and cool down. Those all sound pretty exciting. You can come and try one of them or all of them, but it's just a sampler of the great classes that we have. Next, we have Underwater Egg Hunt and Spring Festival. This also is at Patterson Park in our pool, and it's April 9th. Registration will open March 14th. I know this is a really popular program, so if you're interested, make sure you check that out and get registered. And then moving into April, we have Conservation Days. This is put on by Outdoor Murfreesboro. It will be at Barfield Crescent Park, but we also have field trips lined out. So on both of these days, there's going to be some great activities, free hikes, activities, volunteer opportunities, citizen science projects, and just learn more about our local wildlife and habitats. We've got some great speakers lined up, so I really encourage you to go to the website. We've got a great webpage up that explains in depth some of the opportunities for both of those days. And then staying at the Wilderness Station, we have Raptor Day coming up March 19th from 10 until 2. This is always a popular program. Our birds of prey get to come out and be the highlight for the day. We'll have demonstrations. Hopefully we'll have some birds flying. We're working on that, some falconry, and lots of activities for the kiddos. So it's a great family event. And then we have Pioneer Days. This is the long-standing event at Cannonsburg Village. Lots of neat demonstrations and vendors will be on hand throughout the day. Sorry about that. And encourage you guys to come and check that out. So moving on to athletics, registration opened this week for our track and field and youth volleyball. Definitely look into registration for your kids on that one. Then we have the St. Clair Senior Center. They always have a lot going on. They've got special events, daily activities, health and social services, free and paid fitness classes, creative arts seminars, and games. They also have the Senior Connection that you can pick up and has a lot of information in the paper form if you want to get it in your hands. And then also St. Clair Senior Center has a lot of travel opportunities. This is just an example of the many places that they go to, and you can check that out and get some more information at the Senior Clair Senior Center. As always, all of our information that is presented here and much more can be available at murfreesboroparks.com. Our website is very user-friendly and just has a lot of information there. We've got the calendar that's up to date, so if you have a day in mind that you have off and you want to see what's going on, it'll list that out. Or if you want to search by activities, it can point you in the right direction. And then we, of course, have a lot of our Facebook pages listed there if you wanted a more specific area to focus on. So come out and see us.
Questions for Rachel? That's great. As always, we're very blessed for these many programs and the staff to take care of these programs and to think them out for us. So thank you so much. If there's no other new business,
I would like to thank the Parks and Rec Commission for the support of the daddy-daughter dance. I had the privilege of attending that event. It was a stellar event, and to see those dads with those daughters, there had to have been no room left in the hair salons that weekend. The fathers dressed in tuxedos, and those little kids, those young ladies, were dressed in gowns, and they just felt so good about that special event. It was the weekend of Valentine's Day, and it was just a special, special experience. Full house. So I would like to see that we continue to support that, given the powerful research related to events of that nature. And it was so inclusive. It was about one of the most diverse events I'd ever attended. And I cannot say enough for what that meant to this community. So please know that we greatly appreciate the support there.
I just had a couple things as well. As most of you know, we just passed Black History Month in February, and we had a inaugural film presentation. And I want to thank Parks and Rec, and particularly Nate, for his involvement in that. They supported that big time. Dr. Jenkins and her group at Patterson welcoming us into the Washington Theater was a very, very good event, and I'm very, very appreciative of that support for that event. The other thing that I wanted to mention, as a new member of this commission, I have probably worn out my welcome with Nate with the many questions that I've asked him about how things work and the whys and the wherefores, and he's been very accommodating to me. One of the things that we've talked about is a more thorough engagement, if you will, with the finances that are involved with the commission. And Nate has been just really, really patient, gone through things chapter and verse with me. And even before this meeting, he talked about going and making additional changes in the future to add some narrative when he provides these numbers to us so that we can have some more meaningful discussion in these commission meetings. And Nate, I want you to know I really appreciate that, and I think that's going to be very, very helpful. After all, we are kind of a consultative group, or should be, for the staff. And in order for us to do our job on that, we probably need a little bit more information, which he's going to provide, and allow us to be more valuable to Nate and to the city, which is why we should all be here. So I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that, Nate. I'm very appreciative of that. And then the last thing, and I maybe should have asked this when you were actually talking about the numbers, but one of the things that you shared with me when you gave me that initial tour of the city shortly after I joined, we talked about one of the vexing challenges to Parks and Rec is the Greenway, and some of the folks that are utilizing that for purposes that was not necessarily designed for. But as you are now approaching budgeting coming up, I don't know if you've thought about that, talking about how we can potentially address that, because I know it's an issue. I know it's a vexing issue. It's not going to be resolved by next week, but we probably ought to have something that speaks to what that's about, at least in my humble opinion.
Just a quick update. Our police department has done a tremendous job. They've assembled a homeless task force to help us whenever we might have issues or have camps that pop up. It is a concern with just how our Greenway is perceived or branded. But I can say the steps that have gone into place have had tremendous impact. Sergeant Wood has a group of officers that are focused on this and not just trying to get people the help they need. So we're seeing that it's very tangible, and I think we've got, the police department's just hired somebody who can come on and be a resource to them as well, to come alongside them and get them almost like a social worker engaged in ways they need to. So that's something that's been, a concern for us, but it seems like we're making some tremendous headway.
Great. Thank you for your comments.
Could I dovetail on what Leroy said too, just from one thing that I noticed earlier on our agenda, or a couple of our agenda things, and I just, for what it's worth, maybe, and Nate would, when we're generating these agendas, the fiscal impact line, generally what I think I'm expecting when I see a fiscal impact on any kind of something that we're gonna do is, what's the impact to the city? And I think that's still what this board would also be. So it's not what's the fiscal impact, how much are we changing it to the end user? It's really, I think, at least, we can have that in there, but I think we also need to see what's the impact gonna be to the city. So if we change this rate on this rental, what kind of impact does that have on the city? For example, if we cut $2,000 out, is that gonna mean we're gonna reduce our revenues on that facility by $62,000 per year? So generally, when I see a fiscal impact note, what I'm thinking is, I'd like to see what impact does that have on our total budget. If we wanna, we obviously wanna include what the rental rates are gonna be, but just that would go for all the different areas within Parks and Rec, just to give us an idea, okay, if we change this, our revenue should do this, or our revenue should do this. That way, we're able to make a decision of, okay, yeah, it makes sense, or no, it doesn't.
That way you might be able to see the total picture just a little bit
It's
clearer.
not the only thing we're thinking about.
Yeah, and then
Fiscal impact.
potentially if we have to add staff or anything like that, you'll be able to see that as well. So we'll take that into consideration.
Awesome.
Very good. Anyone else? If not, we'll stand adjourned.